man speaking in the city square, trying to tell somebody that he cares. Can you blame the voice of youth for asking what is true? Yeah, the ones that you're calling wild are gonna be the leaders in a little while, when will the lonely voice of youth cry what is true? This old world's waking to a newborn babe, and I solemnly swear it'll be their way. You better help that voice of youth find what is true. And the lonely voice of youth cries, what is true?
Boom. Here we are for another pirate live stream where we try to get the attention of the entire internet. No, not really. But the subject is attention, so I figured that was good enough. Yeah, it's another Friday and another pirate live stream because that's how we do this. Man, getting these props right is always a pain. There we go. That's how I want it. It's much better. So I hope everybody had a lovely week. I know it has been a long week, at least for me. Lots of craziness happening all over the place. And things are going to get crazier. I was talking about that today on the Discord server about how much crazier everything is getting all the time. Mainly because of the splitting, right? Everybody's still splitting apart, focused on the wrong things. Everyone's suspicious of everyone else and their motivations, and people are just attacking people left and right. And there's dust ups in the video game world, and there's dust ups in the news world over who's telling the truth, and there's dust ups basically on all the online places because of just everyone's got their own theory. And the reason why is because they're all paying attention to different things. So I have my Sampel. I hope you guys have something to drink as well. And I have some more Sampel in my Muppet cup. Have you considered? You should consider. Really should consider. Super important to consider. And then I've got my skull mug here. I've got some Westminster Table Rock Tea Company here in South Carolina, in Pickens. And then I've got some 3 Ginger Tea in the captain's mug. So we are like ready to journey on. 3 Ginger Tea is good. We haven't had it in a while. They don't always carry it in the store. So, all right, let's open our favorite book here on this live stream, which is Nassim Taleb's Bed of Procrustes. We'll turn to a random location. You will be civilized on the day you can spend a long period doing nothing, learning nothing, and improving nothing without feeling the slightest amount of guilt. That's an excellent definition of civilized. I love it. Yeah, you will be civilized on the day you can spend a long period doing nothing, learning nothing, and improving nothing without feeling the slightest amount of guilt. I agree. Oh, this section is called Chance, Success, Happiness, and Stoicism. Excellent. Perfect for our topic today. Yeah, and so we're doing another big set of topics here in a row because I'm leading up to something. So I'm always leading up to something. So some of these are random. Some of these are like, oh no, people don't know what this is. And the whole channel leading up to hopefully many things. has worked beautifully in some cases. So let's hope that trend continues. So we're talking about attention, and we're trying to work out something about attention. You know, and we're going to do feeling, care, compassion, and love next, in that order, I think, in the coming weeks here. Uh, Unless I can get motivated to do 2 live streams a week for some reason, or pirate live streams a week. I sometimes just throw in random live streams when I can. If you have a suggestion for when I should do extra pirate live streams, let me know. Maybe I'll do them. So I thought it was worth thinking about what you can do with attention. Hopefully, this will give us a little bit of a way to grasp what we're after with attention. Well, I think it boils down to, and I'm not claiming this is in, a complete list, but you can pay attention. You can attract attention. You can draw attention. You can call attention. You can direct attention. You can redirect attention. You can lose attention. You can divide attention. You can sustain attention. You can catch attention. You can demand attention. You can hold attention. Your attention can shift. Your attention can turn. You can grab attention. You can seek attention. You can capture attention. These are common ways of talking about attention. So it's not eyesight for, many, many reasons. You can attend to a feeling or a thought, which might be novel, for example, or a memory, which might be nostalgic. Ah, isn't that interesting? You can attend to a sensation, anything around you. So there could be other things like the steam coming up from your hot tea. You can attend to those things. But it's not merely physical. That's why it's not eyesight. Your eyes really only respond to material things. There's some debate about that, of course, but we'll just say eyes respond to material things to make it easy for us. But your attention is not only about material things. And ironically, you only know what a material thing is, we'll say, because it's been pointed out to you as being that, as existing in that form. So it's not to say that you can't modify that. Somebody can't tell you, oh, that's an apple and it's not quite an apple, right? You can sort of understand that, or a tree, or a chair, like, right? But that starting point, that seed, if you will, of attending to an object, the idea of that object comes from somewhere. And you can make it new to you, right? You can see a different design of chair that you've never seen before and understand it to be a chair. But it all started with attention from somebody else, given to you through mimicry. That's that nice Girardian term that I think Girard himself doesn't really understand. We'll probably get into more of that as we go on here. But what I'm really trying to say in a different set of words is that attention is formed through training. Not all training forms you, by the way, or informs you for that matter, because not all things need that level of depth, but attention does need to be formed. So you can be trained to do some rote procedure over and over again. And that might inform you as to what your job is, where you are in the hierarchy, how you're supposed to go about something, etc. But not all training is deep enough to handle something like attention. Right? But training is a good start for attention. And training can get you to be a good robot, which again, sometimes you must be, right? Grounding matters. Like you should get up at the same time every day, go to bed at the same time every day. It's very robotic, it's very procedural. You kind of need that grounding because if you don't get a good night's sleep, your day is not going to go well or as well as it could if you got a good night's sleep. And without a properly formed attention, learning is not possible at all. I've seen this many, many times. Maybe it's a little broad to say you can't learn anything at all ever or something. But if you don't pay attention to, say, the code that you're supposed to be, that's written in the language you're supposed to be learning, you will not learn that programming language or that written language for that matter. Attention is required for learning. And learning is greater than mere training, like far greater. Some people cannot be trained. That is true. Jordan Peterson sort of points at this. Good for him. It's important to we consider these things. But a lot of people can be trained and not learn. In other words, if something goes wrong in their rote procedures that they've been trained into, they can't improvise. They can't necessarily even understand that something's wrong, and they won't know how to handle it. That happens all the time. That's very, very common in the real world. I always feel bad for people who haven't seen that because they really don't have a sense for the variation in human condition, or people haven't seen people can't be trained at all. It's a little jarring sometimes, but it's important. So, how are we to understand attention, and to what end? Like, what are we trying to do here? Like, what's the purpose of even talking about attention as such? The thing is, our free will is constrained by the created order, which preceded you, by the way, in case that's not abundantly clear, because I get questions about what people find abundantly clear and not. And our free will is also constrained by our attention. If you're not paying attention to it, you can't make a choice about it, and therefore you have no free will in it. It's not that hard. But we have some freedom to use our attention within the created order. And there are constraints upon our attention for sure, other than created order, but it's your created order that, that space, sort of the arena you're in, right? That space that you're in. And using your attention, directing it, training it, disciplining yourself with it, and disciplining it with yourself. That's how you apply your free will, is through attention. And that's what makes the difference between persons in terms of action alone. Right? So, if you're paying attention to what you're doing with a chainsaw, the fact that you have a chainsaw and you're using it on a tree makes a big difference. If you're not paying attention and you're using the chainsaw on the tree, that outcome can be very, very different. And that's one of the things that makes a difference between people. What are you paying attention to? And what are you able to pay attention to? You might not be able to pay attention to everything. Not everything catches your interest. Some people just aren't interested in cats. And I've heard a tale that there are people who aren't interested in dogs, but are they people at that point? I've got questions. It's a big difference in how you act in the world based on your attention. What you can and can't pay attention to, how much attention you pay, and what kind of attention you pay to it. And the interesting thing about attention is that we can all attend to something better, higher, and deeper than we are now, or than we know about now, or that we have experienced up until this point. So attention is sort of like the ability to explore reality and the potential that is available within the constraints of reality. Maybe another way to say reality is created order. That's if you're more, we'll say, religiously minded on the vocabulary side. Another way to say that is to say you can attend to an ideal, some future potential that you somehow see in the world. And the thing is, ideals exist in the world in more accessible forms. So maybe the ideal businessman for you is Elon Musk. That is a reasonable, it's a flawed version of the ideal, but he is the ideal human businessman for some people. And fair enough. Like, I don't, whatever. Maybe other people see Richard Branson as the ideal businessman for very different reasons, right? Or maybe the same reasons. It's hard to compare. So those ideals that you can attend to, you can put your attention towards, have miniature flawed versions in the real world. And those accessible forms are fewer steps from where you are now than, we'll say, the perfect businessman. Or the perfect anything, the perfect police officer, the perfect judge, the perfect computer programmer, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. And that's the thing. With those fewer steps, you can move towards them easier because you have, we'll say, a material exemplification of that ideal. Again, flawed though it may be. And that, that can show you how to be better than you are now. Because maybe you attend to something and you notice, oh, Elon Musk used to sleep under his desk. Maybe I could put in a little extra work at work to be better. Yeah, maybe. And that better might also be bigger than you are now. And looking up at any material ideal, like an Elon Musk, may allow you to look higher and maybe even past him to the actual ideal of a perfect businessman or something, ideal businessman, right? To something deeper than your imagination itself. So everybody thinks their imagination is boundless. Your imagination is even close to boundless. Kind of sucks, probably, actually. The fact that it's crazy and wild and does things that, we'll say, can't be done in reality is A, not a plus, and B, like, who cares? Like, okay. But you can't measure imagination as my imagination is wilder than your imagination. No, once you stray from reality, you're kind of equally strayed from reality. It's not that hard. Equidistant of infinity from reality. And the thing is, when we lose that attention to the ideal, to the perfect future potential or something, the world becomes static. And because entropy, it starts to shrink. We can become upset, resentful, depressed, all kinds of things, downright suicidal, nihilistic, whatever. And that's why we must revivify that attention to the ideal occasionally. Maybe not every day. It's not a computer memory refresh cycle at so many nanoseconds, but you can't lose sight of your ideal for too long, or to lose sight of it is also take your attention off of it. You have to revivify that attention. And maybe Elon Musk there's too many things about Elon Musk that make him a good businessman in your eyes. And so you've got to use your boss or the CEO of the company you work for a time until you look back up at Elon Musk and then aspire for something even higher up. And fair enough. That's what attention is for. It's to help us to look where we need to be, which isn't always up, but where we need to be up, to go higher, to be better. So what that means ultimately is that what we attend to matters. In other words, where we're putting our attention matters. And it does not have to be matter, as in objects, solid physical things. In fact, it often should not be matter. Matter as a physical constraint versus matter as an imaginal purpose. I want you to think on that for a bit. And Jordan Peterson, I believe, frames this as matter versus what matters. But yeah, matter is physical constraint versus matter is imaginal purpose. Right? Because it's in the future, it hasn't manifest, or it hasn't manifested in you or for you or with you, with your participation. So maybe manifest in the world. I could be Elon Musk. A little silly, you probably can't, but whatever. But that's not your participation because you're not Elon Musk, right? So it's still a future potential in the imagination. Like you have to have a big imagination to imagine you're Elon Musk. Just gonna let you know. That's how imagination works. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can be a little careful, right? And when people aren't, look around. And then you have to realize that we know physical constraint as such by what purpose we have in our head. And I know that might be a little hard to understand, but Dr. Jordan B. Peterson was right. We see what we need, not necessarily what we want, but also what we want sometimes. First, we see what we need first. Needs have to come before wants, by the way, otherwise you're dead. Just in case that's confusing. And from there, perhaps we jump off, right? So we could imagine we're in the woods, we're tired, we see a sitting thing. It happens to also be a stump from a tree. So it's a tree stump and a sitting thing, but it was a sitting thing first before we sort of analyzed, oh, looking for sitting thing object, ignoring the birds, ignoring the bushes, ignoring the leaves, ignoring the dirt, ignoring the roots, like there's all kinds of things you're ignoring. It's unbelievable. I'm not even going to try to list them all. Trying to come up with an inventory of all the things I see when I walk in the woods. Okay, stop that. You see a sitting thing, and then you're like, oh, what is the nature of this sitting thing? Maybe it's a rock. But first it's a sitting thing. And then you're like, oh, that sitting thing is a rock. And then you have another sitting thing and you're like, oh, that sitting thing is a tree stump. Tree stumps are softer than rocks. I'm going to sit on the tree stump. Oh, no, the tree stump's too pointy. The rock is nice and flat. I'll sit on the rock. It's more comfortable. See, the first attention created the object of sitting thing. That provided the jumping off point for evaluating the quality of the sitting things. Right? So that's a different level of attention after you have object. You can evaluate quality of object. You have to do one before the other. It's not sequence. It's not that hard. Hopefully it's not that hard. Please, it's not that hard. I promise you it's not hard. But Peterson was right. You see what you need first. Super important finding in, human perception research. Now, the issue becomes when we put what we see in our imagination, the imaginal realm, where our attention is pointed lately, as a culture, we'll say, as our wants, right? So we see wants in the imaginal realm in our imagination, and we put those into the world, right? Rather than preferring how the world unfolds. Well, now we've got all kinds of problems, right? Now we have all kinds of problems when we do that. So one way you may see this is somebody may say, oh, well, I read this book and it was horrible. And like this man was just horribly abusing whales all over the place, all over the world for no reason. And it's like, the book's Moby Dick. And it's like, okay, but it's like a great piece of literature that's very poetic, symbolic, and contains a lot of information. There's instances in Moby Dick where he doesn't actually go after as many whales as he could because he happens to be obsessed with one whale in particular, which is sort of the point of the book, is obsession, or one of the main themes of the book. But you, as reader, can cast whatever you want, right? You could read book 7 of Plato's Republic, and you could read the Allegory of the Cave and somehow magically come away with some fantasy that it's about individualism, breaking free from the bonds of school or some other. There's no individualism in Book 7. Like, there's no individualism in the Republic. In fact, the Republic rejects individualism hardcore. Like, I don't know how people get. I really don't. I'm completely befuddled by how they manipulate their minds and ignore words on the page to cast what they want their oppression narrative to be into the world, and then blame it on Plato. Like, Plato didn't say any of that. You're a crazy person. That's you preferring the wants in your head, in your imagination, in your imaginal realm, and projecting them out into the world. Right? Instead of, well, what did Plato write? Oh, what's the point, the larger point that Plato's making with Book 7 in particular, but like the whole text of the Republic, actually. Oh, he's saying over and over again, the individualistic frame doesn't work for justice, because it doesn't make any sense to talk about justice in light of or from the perspective of single person. Like, that doesn't work. Can't work. Not nonsensical. He makes that point over and over again, which sort of indicates that too much internal attention, right? Too much attention focused inside into our imagination causes us to be outside of the world, acting as if our projection from our head is accessible to everyone else. And if only they cooperated with us, we would get the outcome that our brain has projected will happen as the result of. That is actually the methodology behind the pronoun argument. If I can force people to use the pronouns that I want them to use, then I will be the gender that I want to be. It can't only be in my head. It can't only be in my head and acted out in the world. It has to be in my head, and everybody in the world also has to act it out. And yes, just in case this is confusing, that is tyrannical. Like, for real tyrannical, not like, oh, you're tyrannical because you told me what to do once. It's like, well, I'm your boss. So kind of supposed to, not a tyranny. So very confusing. But once you see that pattern, oh, they're paying attention to what's in their head. And that's why when I have a debate with them and I show them that all of their facts are actually backwards, like legitimately backwards, they don't change their minds because their attention's in their head. It's not in the conversation with you. All right. And Sally Joe's made this observation many times. Her life got much better online the minute she realized that there were a bunch of men that weren't talking to her, even though it was just them two, or they seemed to be communicating one-on-one somehow or with each other. Maybe others were present, maybe not, doesn't really matter. They were actually talking to their ex-girlfriend. And things like that happen all the time. It's far more common than you think. Manuel and I ran into a couple of guys actually a few years ago on one of the Discord servers, and they actually, both of them told us, oh yeah, well, I have a projection of you in my head, and that's who I'm talking to. Like, they said that, like they actually voiced that across the internet to me and to Manuel, the people they were talking to. They actually admitted that. And then at one point I asked one of them, I said, well, how do you think the conversation's going for me? And he had the, I don't know, the arrogance, the audacity to actually tell me the answer to that question, which just like that alone, just like, I don't, it still bothers me profoundly. Right. And he actually told me, oh, I think it's going pretty well. You think it's going pretty well. And I was like, yeah, but I don't. I think it's going horribly. His attention, by his own admission and obvious interaction, like just interacting with the person, you could tell, disconnected from what I was saying completely. His attention was internal, not external. He was ignoring the outside world. And the thing is, if the projection in our head is accessible to everybody else, then once you understand the facts that I have available to me, you will agree with me. Of course you would. There would be no other option. And then we could all just get along. And they're like, well, I mean, in theory, if that had any overlap with reality, which it does not, then that would be true. But it just turns out that in reality, even though reality is a common thing for everybody within it, we don't all see it the same way. We have different perspectives and different interactions and different interpretations. Even with a similar, or even if we could have an identical perspective, we still have different interpretations. Like perspective doesn't solve the problem necessarily, although it can help, right? So I don't want to say you can't talk to anybody ever again because they're all nuts. Then again, I mean that's not a bad option. Um, so I've talked about middle out thinking before on the channel. I have a video on it, and this is where it comes from. It comes from this thinking from your head out to the world instead of receiving what the world has to offer and then thinking about what just happened, right? It's very backwards. It's very backwards. And you know, when we're not starting at the beginning, which is I don't know if you know this, maybe people are not aware because I've got questions every day now. Like I run into people and I'm like, do you understand that the world was here first and is bigger than you, and then you came along like after, like secondarily? Because I look at the way people talk, I see it online or whatever, and I'm like, I don't. You seem really confused about sequence and order, and your thinking is all from your perspective, from your mind, usually from your complete fantasy imagination, out to the world, and you're not starting at the beginning. Because you start at the beginning, the world was here first, and it's bigger than you, and it's giving you all these signals, and then you can think about them. You don't think first and then cast that onto the world. That's backwards. So first we see a sitting thing, and then we see a chair, or notice a tree stump, or a rock. That's how it works. But attention is the starting point. So where you have your attention matters a lot in that equation. If someone seems aloof, their attention is too internal. They aren't with you. They are not attending to the same space that you're attending to. Technically, that's what aloofness is. And hopefully you've seen people, I see a lot of people like that. It's harder to spot online. Aloofness is much harder to spot online because online you're already dealing in an abstraction. Aloofness is when someone's in an abstraction but in your presence at the same time. It's really weird, actually. I mean, I can roll with whatever, but also it's like that kind of stands out. That's why we have a word for it, right? When someone's being aloof, you're like, oh yeah, they're just not really here fully with us. They're kind of half somewhere else, or maybe more than half somewhere else, right? And fair enough. I mean, that happens. So their attention is just too internal. They're really not paying attention to the here and the now, or maybe they're paying attention to the here and the now, but you're not involved. You're not in that attention field, and like that can happen. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you're a nutbag and they should be aloof towards you. I don't know. I hope not. I hope not. Not if you're here, right? If you're here and you are that way, we're trying to help you. So why does this happen? Why do we get our attention too internal, or why do we not understand attention at all? Basically, um, and I think if you aren't formed with a beginning and a good sense of what came first, and look, what comes first matters a lot, then your attention can never be properly prioritized. And John Vervaeke talks about relevance realization. There you go. So I'm telling you right now, up front, good relevance realization relies on good formation. And it helps if you're formed right from the beginning. That's not the only way you can be formed, obviously, but also, like, boy, that saves a lot of time if you're raised correctly. But your attention can never be properly prioritized to orient towards reality until it's formed. And it has to be formed from the start and to the start, right? It has to be formed from the beginning, like in the beginning, right? Like actually. If that doesn't happen, then you don't know what reality is, because you can imagine lots of scenarios. And does that look familiar? People just imagining lots of versions of reality? How many conspiracy theories are there about Epstein? That's just people imagining lots of scenarios, to usually with insufficient data to make any kind of conclusion, which, should be a hint, at least to others. And this is part of how you form attention is if someone's crazy, you don't give them any attention until they're not crazy, and then you give them a little, right? And see if they can maintain the not crazy. And if they can't, you withdraw your attention again. No, seriously, it actually works. Like everybody poo-poos this sort of stuff, but actually it works. It works with dogs. If you don't know how to train a dog, you should look up the Monks of New Skeet. They have some wonderful books on how to train your puppy. Um, Great stuff. Great. The monks. Ask the monks. They know. It's actually not that different for people. Attention matters a lot. It matters in dog training quite a bit. I met a woman years ago. Well, actually, my girlfriend at the time was taking classes with her. Unbelievable. She had all these dogs. The one dog she had with her, she said, "Oh yeah, this dog and the two others that were her dogs." She took them to Logan Airport, which is a major international airport in Boston, man. And the dogs were in outside the airport, not inside, but like outside the airport where all the hustle and bustle is, and the cars are coming and going. And the dogs were perfectly well behaved. They were so well behaved. A woman up in one of the hotels, there's a hotel in Logan, saw her from several stories up and went down to like ask her like, "What? How did you do this? How are your dogs so well behaved with all this stuff going around?" And it just turns out she trained the dogs using motion. So treats and motion, no verbal commands. She said what you do is you train the dog's attention by moving your hand with a treat in it. And then when they complete the movement that you want them to complete, whatever it is, then you give them the treat. Keep it right in front of their nose too. It looks really it looks horrible, but it works unbelievably well. And she said, and then you associate it with the word. And I was like, oh wow, that's really good. And so you train the action first, and then you associate it with the word, and then you don't need the treat anymore. And she said, whenever the dog is finished, you give the dog the treat, and then you pat it on the head or pet it or whatever every single time. And things like that work very well with children, by the way, but they also work with adults. Are they perfect? No. It also turns out, I don't know if you know this, but I'm sure it's random coincidence. Nothing else is perfect either. So like I don't know why people are, oh, that's not. It's like, oh, please stop. Please. We aren't perfect people, and we don't live in a perfect world. And even if we did, we couldn't perfectly implement anything. Who cares? Get over yourself. That is one way to train attention. Many of the people who seem autistic are just attending to internal things rather than external things, usually because they find the external things overwhelming. For example, I do not go to concerts very often. Why? I despise crowds. It's too much work for me to pay attention to all the things I need to pay attention to feel comfortable. And so I can never feel comfortable in a crowd. Now, probably trying to pay attention to too many irrelevant things. I understand that. They don't seem irrelevant to me. So it doesn't really help. Like I know what's going on. Knowing what's going on doesn't really help. I've gotten better. I can do crowds much better now. I once missed the opportunity to see Queensryche play live because I didn't want to get to the Metallica concert early due to the crowds. I wanted to come in late when most of the people were already seated. I deeply regret this decision to this day. I was young and foolish. And it's totally changed now. Now I'm old and foolish. Completely different. And the thing is, Simon Baron Cohen wrote a wonderful book called Mind Blindness, and don't let anybody poo-poo that book. It's really good. It's quite good, including him. Like no, it's there's some bang on stuff in there for sure. He goes over this rather nicely, like where your attention is, what your attention's doing, why, if your attention isn't well formed, you're going to be autistic, basically, or seem autistic. I think mind blindness is a nice summary of this. And I my thesis is that understanding the information in mind blindness can help a lot of these people that are quote autistic to be not autistic, maybe entirely. Still my thesis. There's other reasons why I believe that. I've come to more strongly believe it over the years with a lot of sort of experiments that I've run and things that I've looked for and noticed. Um, so what we're really saying here is, a couple of things. Like one is, yeah, autism is a function of malformed attention. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, whether it's, we'll say, more like what Simon Baron Cohen proposes in the book, there's a couple mechanisms at least that he talks about, or whether it's something different, because I have a bunch of different things that we talk about in the knowledge engine model video. Who cares? It would be the same. It's still malformed attention, right? But what that means is what you pay attention to and how you pay attention to it. That'll make more sense if you read Mind Blindness. Shapes your world. And it shapes your perceptions. And it shapes how you are perceived. The reason why we think someone is aloof is because they're making eye contact, but not with us. The reason why we think someone's shy is because they look away from us when we look at them. Those are different. Shy and aloof are different. Some people can't tell the difference. Some people can have no problem with this, right? The way we know someone is being aggressive is that they stare at you intensely. Okay? So that way, or those ways of paying attention, alter how that person is being perceived. It could be that they're a little crazy and they dress up in pirate outfits and go on YouTube. That will change the way they're perceived. I pay attention to doing all this, especially these things. I don't know why. I'm very obsessive about where my little monocles are. There's a lot of OCD going on there. Don't ask. The bird, we struggle with Polly sometimes. She likes to go off the reservation a bit, birds gone wild sort of thing. She'll settle down when she gets older. I have these shirts are ordered. You can probably figure out the order of the shirts if you go back in the live streams. I think I've kept nearly perfect order too on them. There might be one or two mistakes throughout the years here, but pretty good order. I've got a whole system for that. Of course I do. The OCD, it is what it is. But it affects how I perceive because I pay attention to certain things. Like on Fridays, I pay a different type of attention to how I look on camera than I do when I'm doing recorded videos. And I don't pay attention much at all to how I look on camera ahead of time when I do videos on my personal channel, which is just my name. And I usually use that. I whip that out. I turn those things on sometimes just to say something, in which case the lighting's typically absolutely atrocious. And in some cases to adjust my lighting for Fridays or for a recording, because I usually do my recordings on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. Putting my attention there before I fire things up changes the perception, your perception of me. So attention matters a lot. But what this means, if you just think about it for a second, and let's think about that for a second. Like, let me give you a chance to digest that. What this means is that attention is the mediating factor for how you exist in the world. Because it changes what you see in the world and how you perceive the world and how you are perceived in the world. Just how you're paying attention and whether or not you were attending to how you looked to the world before you went out in the world. Both of those And then when you're out in the world, what are you attending to? Like, what do you perceive? Attention is the mediating factor for how you exist in the world. Super important. Super important. Probably never thought of it that way before. Neither did I until I wrote those words earlier today. It's like, oh, wow, this is quite the insight. And it's not, I don't want you to think like I wasn't aware of this internally and acting it out before, because I was. How do you explain, like, what is it that people are missing? I was like, oh, they're probably missing all of this too. It's how these things take shape. Also, if you ever talk to Christopher or Sally Joe, I stole a bunch of this stuff from them, but don't tell them. They'll never figure it out. They're online. You know how online people are. So the thing is, all it takes to be in domicide is poor attention, even in a properly ordered world, right? So you could have, let's say, a perfect world, an ideal, right? But if your attention is poor, like you're autistic, you're still gonna feel out of place. Like it doesn't matter that the world has a place for you if you can't attend to that place and perceive it as a place where you can be and perceive how to be in that place, then it's going to be terrible, terrible time for you. In other words, an ordered world will not solve the problem of attention. Only formation will solve the problem of attention. And it's worse, right? Because having proper attention in a disordered world, I might point to right now, and lots of people, unfortunately myself included, um, that'll only bring you into conflict with the world. Like you'll see things in the world that aren't ordered correctly, and you'll be like, yes, but that's totally wrong. And people will be like, what are you talking about? Why do you think it's totally wrong? And you'll try to explain it to them, and they'll stare at you like you're retarded. And you're like, well, the thing is, though, I don't think I'm the retard in this situation. So what are we doing? So my argument, because I feel this deeply, is it's worse to have proper attention in a disordered world. I have no grounds for that other than it's my live stream. And both of these situations need to be brought together through formation, right? We need to have a formation that aligns our attention to a properly ordered world, while aligning the order of the world to being proper. And I would say that's actually kind of the same thing, right? There's a reciprocal, if you will, relationship between those two things. If you act like you're in a properly ordered world, that helps to bring about the proper ordering of the world. I think that's true. The formation matters, right? That's what matters, is the formation, not education. That's a garbage psyop word. Just ignore that word. It's terrible. Terrible word. Terrible word. They probably mean formation anyway. So just to let you know, and obviously I'm not going to cover this now, which, that makes you upset, comment. That'd be good. But how you form the world and what you form in the world matters, right? And you can imagine the formation process as a story or a narrative. I mean, I have my own definitions of these things, right? Or a myth. And a hint, it's a myth. That's a better way to think of it. But the point is that the goal for formation is an important thing, and it cannot be arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. You can't just make girl bosses in charge of things in the movies and expect people to go to the movies to see girl bosses, even women, because they would rather see the ideal feminine exemplified than the ideal masculine exemplified in a woman. Like that's doesn't make any sense, right? And not that that can never happen or needs to be hidden or anything, but if it's over amplified, especially at the expense of the ideal feminine, It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So, in other words, what you believe matters. And that is mediated by attention primarily. Your belief is mediated by attention. If you pay attention to leftist news, your beliefs are more likely to be leftist leaning. If you pay attention to crazy moderates like Tim Pool, your beliefs are more likely to be crazy moderate. If you pay attention to true conservatives, which are out there, then you won't mistake Elon Musk for being right wing, which somebody did on Twitter. And I was like, I don't. If Elon Musk is right wing, we're all screwed. Like, somebody countered that with, well, he's definitely to the right on the gender thing because his eldest son is now switched genders. And I was like, oh, okay. So at some point he wasn't against this because he let his son do it. And are you sure there's only two options? Because I'm sure there aren't. So, but yeah, it matters. These beliefs matter a lot, and it's mediated by your attention. You watch CNN all day, you're going to believe what CNN says because there's nothing else in your field of attention. It's going to be very hard to dislodge those things too once you're lied to. And there's a lot of that. Like everything on the left is just made up of absolute lies. So until the people who were formerly leftists say, "Oh yeah, by the way, we were brainwashed by absolute lies, and we're sorry," nothing is going to get better for them. So it's just never going to change for them. They're just going to find themselves in the same mess they found themselves in last time, which is with a group of people that some of those people are going to go completely insane, and then they're going to find things to blame, and and they're at once going to project the same thing that they saw onto the other side. Because if you only have two things, then you're going to see everything as a mirror. Like binaries are bad. So, what are we to make of attention? What does it look like to attend to the wrong things? Well, conspiracy theories are poor attention with a bunch of assumptions, like the world is a rational place. So, rationality, intent. People intend to do things and they can perfectly implement their intent in the world, right? And ability. Like, I'm a rational creature. I intend to make $1 billion. I can perfectly execute that, but I don't have the ability. Well, then, and then you have to remove from the world anything that's, we'll say, non-material, right? Ethereal agents, right? Everything's got to be the function of a person, right? Or a lizard person, right? And that has to be how the world runs. So conspiracy theorists are just materialists who over rationalize the world and believe intent matters independent of looking at things like ability. I mean, look, you can talk about the CIA wants this and wants that all day long. The CIA is one of the most remarkably ineffective and inept agencies that has ever existed in history, mainly because they try to do very hard things that are nearly impossible. And so they fail almost all the time. And so the fact that the CIA wants something really doesn't mean much. Overall, I'm not saying we should abolish the CIA, although if you have ideas, let me know. I'm just saying that a lot of people try a lot of things and they really don't work out, right? Most businesses fail within the first 3 years. Well, why? It might be a lack of ability. It might be a poor intent. It might be that they're irrational. I don't know. There's lots of reasons. Usually it's a lack of the right abilities in the right amounts for the right amount of time. A lot of businesses fail when someone important leaves. You'd be surprised how often that happens. And what happens with conspiracies is that because your attention in the world shifts. So one day it's the war in Ukraine, the next day it's what Israel's doing in Gaza, and then the next day it's Iran. Well, you now need a conspiracy theory to explain each one of those things. Unless you have a grand conspiracy theory, this is usually where the lizard people come in, or the ancient aliens, or whatever. The machine elves. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing this week. I can't keep up. I'm grateful that I don't try. You're constantly getting new conspiracy theories and just drifting along because the world is big and your attention moves around a lot. And maybe it shouldn't. Like maybe your attention didn't move around so much, you wouldn't be so conspiratorial and you could get stuff done, because it just turns out that your attention is limited. You can't pay attention to all things at all times. And so you can't pay attention to mowing the lawn when you're worried about who's really pulling the strings with the Iran war. Yeah. Craziness. And the thing is, in the age of Gnosis, you can see the role of attention. So think about the age of Gnosis, the highest value as propositions masquerading as knowledge, right? So, it's really knowledge that I value, and knowledge is really just, a book or a degree or, some YouTube video that where somebody said something, right? And that means you're paying too much attention to words and not enough attention to other things. This forces problems like translation, interpretation, and comprehension to be the excuses for why the world isn't working. Well, if everybody just interpreted the Bible the way I interpret the Bible, we wouldn't have a war in Iran. I mean, fair enough, but play God much? Are you sure the Bible says no war? No earthly war? I mean, even if you cut out the Old Testament, I don't think you can pull that off, but you're welcome to try. Comprehension? Did I mention comprehension? Might be important. The flood of literacy? I've got a video on that. And what choice do you have in the age of Gnosis other than to pick a book or a set of propositions someone's given you? Maybe that reprehensible Brene Brown. What a retard she is. Good Lord. What a retard she is. That's all just fundamentalism. It's actually just fundamentalism. Scientism is a form of fundamentalism. It's just science as religion, and apply the age of Gnosis, where the highest value of the propositions, and suddenly you get a wacky, you have to redefine what vaccine means because you want the vaccine to be able to fix the world for you. Because fake news virus scamdemic. Like, okay. So what are we to do? Well, one thing is to pay attention to what enchants you. In other words, know thyself. Now we can make use of the matrix. Your passions are your first and highest enchantment indeed. That's why Stoicism works so well. If you do not manage them, they will manage you. Hedonism, anyone? If something outside of yourself and your imagination corresponds to your passions, that's just double trouble. So you should avoid them. Don't go to raves if you're sort of prone to looking for a rush. Want to get a rush? Climb a mountain. Don't go to a rave. Seriously. And we can avoid things. So I've probably talked about this a million times. It's my live stream. I can talk about it again. No one can do anything about it. Haha. I, didn't keep candy in the house. Why? Because I'm a glutton. And if I have candy in the house, Like, suppose I buy like a package of candy bars, I will eat them all in one sitting sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes I'll just Cookie Monster, crumbs flying everywhere. If I get a bag of Jordan almonds, it's a real. I've made myself sick on candy before, man. So I just don't have it in the house. I'll buy a single candy bar and pay 4 times as much because then I can control my passion for candy. Ooh, Snickers bars. Oh, I only have one. Okay. And the same goes for managing food in general. If you can't control very well how you eat, then buy food that helps you control how you eat. I mean, the people at AA understand this, right? Like, oh, alcoholics, according to their definition, are the sort of people that can never be around alcohol. Now, that's not everybody. There's people like me who don't like alcohol, and there's a bunch of people that are indifferent to alcohol. They could drink, they could not drink. It really never takes hold of them. But some people have the passion for alcohol or any other kind of drug, and they need to manage that, right? And you need to manage your passions too. You better know what they are. Because if you don't manage your passions will manage you. They will rule your attention. You will become hedonistic. And we all fall into that from time to time, I think, although to greater and lesser degrees, hopefully lesser. And what that means is that you have to treat your attention as though it is something that requires your management or care, which we will go over in the future live stream. You should avoid things that override your own management of your attention, like not buying too many candy bars, not being around alcohol, right? Staying away from drunks if you're an alcoholic, right? You can argue that your attention was poorly formed when you were a child. That likely happened. I know what happened to me. This isn't unusual. I'm not, excluding myself from any of this stuff. I always include myself in it, in fact. So if you read that otherwise, you're probably have a mental deficiency, but whatever. Bad attention. However, you can fix your attention to some extent, just not alone. Like you need help. You need help. You need people to help you. You just do. It just there's no other way. Sarah eats too fast. She's doing that today. I'm like, can you slow down, please? Because it's not a contest, and you won't get anything for finishing dinner before I do. It's not gonna happen. Oops. Yeah. Wasn't paying attention to how fast I was eating. Yeah, that happens. I mean, that happens to me still too. So don't tell anybody. Shh. It's our little secret. And maybe you should ask yourself at the end of each day, what did you attend to? And you don't need a complete list or anything crazy, but you should know. And it's likely a lot of things. And maybe you should try to list them out. I don't know. I mean, this might help. And maybe look back and figure out, which of the things that I attended to were important and which were not. Like, I got distracted by my video game. Yeah, I was playing Risk before I'm not done. I'm in the middle of conquering the world, and live stream is interrupting my world conquest. I guess I have screwed up priorities because I'm here and not finishing my conquest of the entire world. And that's the thing. I mean, before you close your eyes, remind yourself of what you need to attend to tomorrow. And when you wake up, remind yourself again. These are ways you can train your attention. And there's lots of ways to train your attention. And maybe you need more than one. Try them all. Pick one or two or whatever and make them habits. Ask other people for help. And why make them habits? Because habit constrains attention. That boring, monotonous, rote, over and over again thing that you do helps to constrain your attention. So doing boring tasks like knitting or crocheting or waxing the bottom of your kayak, which I have done, waxing your floors, sweeping your floors, doing the dishes. These help to train your ability to move your attention and constrain it. or unconstrain it. Like it's like a muscle. You have to work it. Habits constrain attention. And a constrained attention means you have more focus, technically. So if you're bad at focus and you have high anxiety, that's because you have a poorly trained attention. Maybe there are other factors too, but certainly you have a poorly trained attention. And so you can employ some of these things to get a better attention. Maybe some forms of meditation. Please don't do meditation unless it's in a group. It's way too dangerous otherwise. That can also help you to constrain your attention. John Vervaeke has a wonderful series. It's a meditation series. Absolutely wonderful. Highly recommend. Especially the beginning where he talks about this. Like, oh, you close your eyes and this is what happens to you. It's like, wow. Yeah, that does happen to you. And the reason why discipline works is because it constrains attention very well. So habits are good, but if you're not disciplined about your habits, you got a different problem. But discipline constrains your attention very well. And if you aren't constraining your attention, then what is? Hedonism, anyone? Anxiety, anyone? Never finishing anything? Procrastination? And the thing is, attention is like a reservoir. It gets used up. So you need to manage it. You need to be careful with it. You need to actually think about what it is you have used your attention for and whether or not that was a good idea. Because maybe it was and maybe it wasn't. I don't know. And the thing is, you give your time and energy to that which you attend. So if you want to manage your time and your energy, and you should manage both and not just your time, then attention matters. And there's another trick to all of this, which is that you can look back on the day, on a week, a month, a year, whatever. And you can see where your desires are. And then you can evaluate those desires. And that's not perfect. If you're a drug addict, for example, you probably won't know all the times you do drugs. Even if you record it, you will record it poorly. I've seen this happen many times. Drug addicts are unreliable self-reporters with respect to how often they take their drugs. This shouldn't be a shock, really. Alcohol, obviously, is a drug. Same deal. When was the last time you got drunk? Oh, it was 3 days ago. It was last night, dude. I was with you. Like, what are you talking about? No. It was definitely 3 days ago. Like, what? But a lot of the times, you can look back and go, wait a minute. I did drink 4 times last week. And if you had asked me, I would have said 2. Maybe I have an alcohol problem. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm too desirous of alcohol or cocaine or heroin or meth or video games or porn or that's the trick, right? They go, well, if you're not doing too much porn, it's okay. Not doing too many video games, it's okay. Well, where's that line? First of all, you didn't draw one yet, did you? And where are you in relation to that line? Oh, you never measured, did you? No, because we don't. We're lazy. I measure everything because I'm a psychopath, but that's different. Most people never measure anything. I used to measure the time it took every quarter mile on the Mass Pike to get to the end. Every quarter mile. Because I could manage the traffic perfectly that way. And it worked. Like, yeah. And it's not perfect, but who cares? It's way better than what everybody else is doing. So better is good. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the better. And just be aware that you have power. It's directed time, energy, and attention. That, my friends, is my monologue. I hoped you enjoyed it. If you didn't, don't tell me. Oh, Lynn, I love this framing. 100. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm glad you like this framing. It's good to have your feedback in particular, and I really do value it. Jet City Woman, great song. Yeah, we saw Queensryche a couple of years ago. They have a good new singer. It was a good show. Yeah, I just kick myself all the time. I was thinking about this attention thing, and I don't know why that even popped up while I was doing the, prep for the live stream, but it did, and I was like, "Ugh, why did I do that? Why did I do that?" So, yeah, I hope this sort of clears up attention for people. And if you're willing to come on camera and you got some questions or whatever, feel free to jump on in, and I will do my best to clear up whatever. Oh, look at that. I remembered to pin the message and everything. Sally Joe couldn't pay attention. Too broke. I thought about throwing that joke in there, and then I decided not to. Thank you, Sally. Now I can blame you. So I was so broke I couldn't afford to pay attention. It's a good joke. Uh-oh. Christopher, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right.
What like I gotta ask you, what the freaking hell happened today, dude? Like, how did that happen? Like, I'm not screwing with you. I had just typed out the sentence, and then you said what you said, and I was like, what is he completing my thoughts from Alaska? I was like, how did this happen?
Well, I guess sometimes I pay attention to the right things. So
I don't know if they were the right things. You should have been at work, sir.
well,
But that's okay. I mean, if you're fixing the live stream for me, that's and you're still not fired, then it's like no harm, no foul. That was freaky. That genuinely, like, I just went like, wait, what just happened? There's a glitch in the matrix. I'm like checking the windows. No, they're not brick. It's okay. Trying to find the wet wall, the main wet wall. I'm like, uh-oh.
yeah.
But what'd you think? Was it good? Was it good? Was it awesome? Was it the best thing ever?
It was good. I give you an A.
Oh, thank you. Ooh, I like that. That's great. Super happy now. Yeah. I worked pretty hard on that. Although it's at this point, things like that are just 6 years of work. It's nothing to do with
Right. Yeah.
the 2 or 3 days I spend on the writing it all out. It's the 6 years for sure.
Yeah. When I heard you were doing attention first, I didn't think you had done it before. But then last night I realized that you have one previous live stream on attention. But,
Yeah. Yeah, but I need to do the sequence with a new framing.
Right. Yeah.
Don't tell anybody what I'm up to.
I figure it's just a remarkable topic.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot to ask the new little AI that I have about that. I should have done that. Oh well. I'll do it after the stream.
Yeah.
It doesn't have this one in it yet, so that'll give me a nice clean answer. Sally Joe, treated the LLM 600 seconds of work. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The problem with a thing like attention is that was one of those Dragon of Apocalypse topics that Manuel and I were like, no, we're never touching this. Never
Yeah.
going near that. But yeah, and I've got a recorded video on time, energy, and attention somewhere, don't I? I think so.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I've talked about it a couple times, but now I think I realize the scope of, and then right in the middle of, like, I'd already picked all this, and then I saw the perfect example of on Twitter of somebody absolutely not paying attention to anything I was saying, like just
Mhm.
using whole words that I didn't use. Like, I'm like, I don't I don't understand how you're extrapolating what I said into that wording, but I mean, I guess whatever. And then, you gotta give up on people that can't pay attention correctly. Like, what are you gonna do with
Right,
them?
right.
Like,
Yeah. I mean,
it's too bad. It's scary though. It's like, what is going on?
mhm. No, yeah, always interesting to see what other people are paying attention to and what they're not. So,
Yeah. Well, and that's the big fracturing of the world. This is why I keep saying chaos is gonna expand, because
oh yeah, yeah.
there's too many targets of attention and no one
Mhm,
has that much attention. And then effectively what happens is you start to be able to live in a world, because of the internet explicitly, where whatever it is that is one of your passions
mhm.
will have an object of attention in front of you all of a sudden. So
Right. Yeah, yeah.
that's why the kinks and the fetishes kind of exploded on the
Oh
internet.
yeah, yeah.
And if you weren't on the internet early, you didn't see how that spread outside the internet very well. But I was, and I was like, "Oh no, this is not good."
Mhm,
And yeah, you could just see that, basically any whim or desire you had could be boosted all of a sudden attention-wise,
mhm.
because another person could communicate to you all of a sudden that
Right.
you'd never have access to, right? Like the
Mhm,
number so there was a club called Man Ray in Cambridge, Massachusetts in the 90s, and it was basically a goth leather dominance weird club. And, I mean, wandering the mean streets, haha, of Cambridge, boy, they're not very mean. Um, and seeing people in line to get into Man Ray was always like, "Oh, okay." I guess something like that wouldn't have been possible before the internet, simply because those people wouldn't have met, especially not in a crowded city. And, there are some exceptions, like New York City always had clubs like that. Well, of course they did, because it's such a high density, right? So, the third most populated city in the world back in the day. Now I think it's number one or two or something all the time. Um, but it was very unlikely that you would run into that. But with the internet, it's like, oh no, there's a bunch of people in your area that have the same kink. It's like, oh no, that's not good for you. And it's not good for them, and it's not good for the world, all at the same time. That
right.
fractal aspect of reality, there it is. That's in the negative exemplification. Oops. But it's a lot easier to see, we'll say that way. What do we get here? Sally Joe. So perhaps the age of the info floods. Yeah, well, info wars indeed. Whoever can learn to focus locally to themselves, yep, enough, physically or mentally, yep, will be ahead of those who cannot, as long as they include others. The problem is we're still fighting the individualism. And so, right, this is the
Mhm.
the Benedictine option. Like people are like, "Oh no, we're gonna go into the woods and start our own community." It's like, no, that's gonna make because you're removing the good people from the community. This is the argument against allowing immigrants in, even competent, or I should say, especially competent ones, because you're removing the competency from places like India, to
Mhm.
whatever extent it has any, and giving it to the United States. Well, that impoverishes India. And if you think the globalists aren't well aware of that, I've got news for you. Once you understand that, the globalist agenda makes a hell of a lot more sense. And also the
Mhm.
corruption of it into, well, we'll let all the immigrants in, right? Because that's the layer down exemplification of what they think the globalists are trying to do. And also evil, but that's a different
Yeah.
topic. So you can see how attention, if you place it in the hierarchy, corrupts every layer down. And that causes the fractal sort of spiraling into entropy or something, which is just corruption,
Mhm.
stacks of corruption.
Yeah, that's you corrupt the higher layer, and the people paying attention to that will then copy that corruption. And there's more people
Or,
copying it when they see it now.
or the higher layer is fine and you're copying it, but you don't see it clearly. And so
Well, yeah.
what you're copying of it sucks. And so like I watched The Magnificent Seven the other night, and
Mhm.
what a man, that there are some lines in that movie that you're just like, how did anybody write this? This is amazing. This is like beyond. Oh, see you, Lynn, later. This is beyond genius. Like, this is just next level observation of the world stuff. And um, you know, how faithful a copy is that of the Seven Samurai? And the answer is I haven't watched Seven Samurai yet. I mean, I'm sure I've saw it when I was younger, but I'm watching everything new. Um, but also, how many things have come after and said they're copying the Magnificent Seven and not Seven Samurai, even though right in the beginning it says this is a copy of Seven Samurai, you
Mhm.
moron. It doesn't say the you morons part, but maybe it should.
Right.
And then you just get a terrible movie. And it's like, well, that's because you're making a copy of a copy and you're not going back to the original. That's problem number one. And problem number two is you probably suck. So, entropy. And yeah. And so people don't appreciate that, right? They don't appreciate
Mhm.
that. And attention attenuates, interestingly enough, over time and in the vertical, like more in the vertical, but also over time. And so it's like, oh, yeah, the further away you get from something, right? And then when you get too far away from it, though, and the attention is snapped and you see it anew, that's how attention works. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the thing, the definition of attention or the etymology came from to stretch towards something.
Right.
That's
Right. Yeah, I was trying to
and that
capture the
was
flavor without relying on the etymology this time, but
yeah,
hopefully I did that. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. That was the thing, and that's what something captures your attention, whatever, and then you start stretching towards it. And then once you do that, you tend to keep doing that in the same direction.
Something something in your awareness, and then you move your attention towards it.
Right.
And then right, you stretch towards it. You're like, "Oh, there's a
Mhm.
thing in the field of awareness." This is one of the areas where Viveki falls down. He's gotta rely on this thing called salience landscape, which is an undefinable objective material reality thing that he had to create because he doesn't understand awareness. And, like, fair enough, awareness is really hard. Like,
Yeah.
awareness is something like field of vision, but not quite, right? So,
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's the problem of the Republican book 6 trying to talk about the good, where they
mm, yeah,
exemplify that nicely. They can't do it, so they talk about the slightly lesser thing.
right.
So
And you kinda have to because you gotta talk to the thing
right.
that's, closer to you, we'll say.
Mhm.
Oh, no. How much regret am I gonna have for the absolute insanity we're about to experience? Benjamin Franklin, dude, really? Twitter today wasn't enough for you, huh? Okay. Copy of a copy example. Oh, well, that's not bad. Reminds me of Kumiko, the treasure hunter. I've never heard of this. In which a character watches the film Fargo. Oh, yeah. And goes on a treasure hunt to find the buried money presented in Fargo. Oh, well, maybe did you swallow a sanity pill temporarily? That's wonderful news. Um, yeah, that's a reasonable example of somebody trying to copy something that was already a simulacra
Mhm.
and getting confused. I'd say that's a double corruption. Uh, right. The first corruption is confusion of the simulacra for reality, right? Or the movie, the projection for reality. And the
Mhm.
second is, the mistake that 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 is a thing that they can interact with at all. And so those are good examples of misplaced attention. Yeah, fair enough. What happened? I'm like, after the Twitter thing, I thought for sure that age of sanity was over with you, sir, but apparently you managed to pull up from the nuttiness earlier today. Great. I like it. We like the better.
Yeah, better is always good. So
Better is always good. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I didn't do it. There's so many ways to go into like, how can your attention be wrong? It's like, let me count the ways. No, we don't have that. Like that's longer
right,
than
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
lifespan of a human. Like you just confuse all kinds of things with a poorly trained attention. But you can train your own attention to some extent, and hopefully other
Mhm.
people can help train it for you. Um, which is mostly what I use my Discord for. So let's get crazy people on my Discord. They'll help me train my attention. So yeah, and it's
Makes sense. Yeah.
hard for me because I used to be just man, I was the self starters. I mean, I started like 18 startups because I had no problem project managing everything, including myself. And now I can't remember what the hell I was doing 10 minutes ago. It's terrible. These live streams are like my last vestige of projecty type things at this point. Oh, because the videos, I've got stacks of videos. And I just, a lot of them just require a bunch more work. So
Mhm.
I gotta get on I gotta redo the early slide model videos and get Sarah to do the slides on that. I gotta get we're gonna do book 6 now. There's a couple items in book 6 I need to go over. So thanks for noticing that as you read through it. And then I've got this other video, which I think Manuel, because Manuel's been back on the Discord, thankfully. Manuel helped me see a way to do one of these perspective shift videos. So I'm
Nice.
still struggling through that one mightily. Sometimes I see it really clearly, and then I'm usually not near my computer. So sometimes, and then it fades away. And sometimes I get in a few lines like, oh no, I need to do this. It's like okay. And then hopefully we'll get those recorded. But at least we know what the next few live streams are going to be. So that's kind of handy.
Mhm. Yes. What else do we need to pay attention to
Yeah, go
now?
ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, what else are we going to pay attention to here?
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention the the video I released with Adam, which I screwed up on, by the way, but
Mm.
we had a nicely edited version, but no, I somehow uploaded the wrong file. But my videos are so good raw anyway, because I'm a psychopath and I record them pretty well. It doesn't matter that much at the end of the day. But like one way to see sort of a switch in attention is like if you think the myth of World War II has anything to do with the second act of the Great War, your attention's at the wrong time scale, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And you need to look a little bit differently. And then one person made the mistake, the unbelievably boneheaded mistake, by the way, of commenting about, the Eastern Church is superior, roughly speaking. I mean, I have to paraphrase, but because they didn't have knights and knights are militant and militancy is bad. And I was like, you wouldn't even have your church. It would be gone. Islam would have taken you over if not for the knights in the crusade coming to save your ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all you had are monks, you moron. Also, one of the greatest scientists of all time is Gregor Mendel, who's a friar, which is not part of the monastic order any more than the militant knights are a monastic order. So we need all those pieces. You can't just take pieces out. Like that's not acceptable. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I have a real problem with people who say, we're in spiritual warfare, and then they want earthly peace. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, guys. Like these two things are attached. You can't be in spiritual warfare and not have earthly war. That's never going to happen.
Right.
You got to kind of figure it out.
Especially because the spiritual thing is higher than the physical thing. So
right. The ethereal rules the material.
Yeah.
That's the materialism confusion. They just get it backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to solve the spiritual problem before you can have the physical.
Right. Are you attending to matter or what matters? I mean, that was such brilliance by Peterson. And it's like, yes, that's the materialism. You're attending to matter instead of what matters. That's materialism. That's the most distinct way to talk about materialism. It's not that you don't believe that there aren't purposes or something in the world or non-material things in the world. That's not what it is.
Mhm.
It's that you put the matter first, and the matter ain't
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, you're putting your attention on the matter. So, and then, well, once you focus your attention on the matter primarily, and then you like lose the ability to attend to the other one because your attention is limited. And
Yeah, that's the other thing I think people don't. Everybody's acting like everything is free and infinite. And I'm like, no. And it's just like, I don't understand where this comes from. Like, you have a limited amount of time and you have a limited amount of attention.
Mhm,
And, energy is not infinite, guys. Like, I don't
mhm.
know. Like, it's just not, you have to manage these things. You can't just throw them willy nilly around. Like, that's not going to work.
Right, right. Come up with like attention deficit disorder and stuff like that. Which,
What's weird, because, yeah, we know these things are limited.
right. So,
And can be disordered.
right, yeah, and maybe we should have like an attention like excess disorder,
Yeah, yeah.
excessive disordered
That's
attention.
anxiety. Yep. Attention excess disorder. Yeah.
Yeah, then we can.
Which is not really an excess of attention. It's just an undisciplined attention. That's why habits
Mhm.
help. You do some Zen sweeping and bang, problem solved. Just do some dishes.
Yeah, yeah,
Knit something, whatever. So do some sewing by hand, whatever. That'll calm you
yeah,
right
yeah.
down.
Doing the daily grind stuff will help you with all that.
The best philosophers I know are all people that work with their hands. I also happen to be extremely well read on philosophy, which is weird, but
A
I used to
different
yell at Jefferson Marx about that all the time.
Hmm?
I'm like, Jefferson, why are you the best philosopher I know? You're like you talk like a redneck. What is wrong with you? He used to laugh. He thought that was pretty funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's if they're you're working with your hands, and well, you're working with your hands, you can engage with the world
Yeah.
instead of reading books and just imagining the world from there.
Yeah, you get a sense, when people say you lack nuance, they've never had a real job. Period. End of statement. It's 100%. 100% of the time. People who lack
Mhm.
nuance have never had a real job. People who can't tell good from evil easily have never had a real job. They've never worked with their hands. Like, my
Yeah, yeah,
first job was UPS. I worked with packages. I shuffled packages. I was in the unload, and then I was in the sort. I was a hell of a sorter. I was a monster unload. They hated me. They hated me. They were like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Labels are all up, and the package are coming fast. Don't know what to tell you. I used to shut my trucks down all the time. Super efficient. I had a stance. I had a methodology. I did all these. Yeah. Whenever they got into
right.
trouble, they'd call me. They'd put 2 sorters on me on one truck, and I'd just bang out the truck. And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, we're back on track now. Mark's on it." Because they'd tell me, I'd be like, "Oh, you need me to go extra fast." Well, I have a higher gear. We can accommodate this. I just couldn't do it all shift.
Right.
I
Yeah, yeah.
tired. Yeah. Yeah. I got in trouble once. So when I was at UPS, I was on what's called the TWI shift. So there's 3
Mhm,
shifts, right? There's the afternoon shift, which
mhm,
started like at 2 or something. So some of the high school kids would get out of school a little early or whatever to get there, or they'd come in a little late, like 15 minutes late or whatever, to work
right.
that shift. And then the twi shift started at 6 p.m. I like the 6 p.m. shift. So I had that shift. And then there was a midnight shift. It started I think it started at 10 or whatever, but
Yeah.
those are the 3 shifts. But what happened was they were 4-hour shifts. So if you worked more than 4 hours, you got time and a half.
Mhm.
So it was a hell of a good deal.
Mhm.
And I was already, I had already been there a year, so I was making more than, I think it was more than $9 an hour. So I was doing pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
Because I was a sorter. Sorters make $9 an hour, and then it doesn't matter what job you do. So if you're just an unloader, you were making 8. I was a sorter. I was making 9, and then I was making like 9.25 or something because I had been there so long. So they give you this nice fat raise, or at least it felt that way at the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what happened was I was like, I heard that the day shift had run into trouble. So I was like, well, can I work the day shift? And they're like, yeah. So I was working my overtime before my normal shift. And the day shift was fantastically busy. It was way. So the problem with the day shift was the day shift consisted of trucks from other UPS facilities that had gotten there overnight. And so the trucks were loaded at a facility with lots of random packages in random orders. The twi shift, the thing that made it so nice was almost all of those trucks were from companies, and they were professionally loaded, and they had all the same size boxes, and those people had a method of loading them. And so you get a truck from LL Bean. It was very nice. LL Bean was a pain because they had a lot of soft, small packages. But other than that, it was fine. So what would happen is the day shift was just busier. Everything took longer because the packages, like you'd be in a truck and the whole freaking thing would fall over because some retard loaded it wrong. And that just was super common. And so I would work the day shift, and like I'd put in 4 hours in the day shift sometimes because they were backed up. And then I'd go on the twi shift and I was a little tired because, like I was not good at regulating my energy back then. So I just throw 90% of my energy into anything that was in front of me. And so I got a talking to once. It's like, listen, we're going to take away your ability to go on the day shift if you don't fix this. So I learned to fix it, and I did, and I didn't. Yeah. But yeah, man, I made a lot of money back then. I was making money left, right, and center for, I had no expenses. I was living at home. So I was 15.
Oh
16,
yeah. That's
so yeah, I was swimming in cash from my perspective, completely swimming in it. Didn't care about it. I was putting high test gasoline in my V8. I didn't care. Made no difference to Mark. Don't care. Makes no difference. Gonna treat the car real well with high test. I blew it up anyway because I'm an idiot. But yeah, don't be a teenager. You'll be stupid. It's terrible. Cannot recommend.
Yeah, that I can confirm you that will.
Yeah. See, will anyone listen to us, Christopher? No, they'll all go through teenage years for no reason and be dumb. It's a heartbreaker. It's a hardship. Terrible idea. Don't be a teen. Just don't even. No. Also, just don't grow old in general. Terrible. Like, ugh.
Right.
Yet, like 28, 26, just stop. Just cut it out.
Yes. Just stop aging around there and don't get sick. And
yeah, don't get an illness. Oh, geez, don't get an immune system illness like me. Like, don't get SIRS or Lyme or any of that garbage. Like, yeah, that's no bueno. No bueno. 4 days. 4 days. I was sick for 4 days. It was terrible. I should have had 3 more videos recorded. Daryl wasn't here. I had plenty of time. I should have the yard all cleaned up. I did get all the major stuff done, but I got a lot of cutting. We had perfect days. It was 70 degrees. It was like 75.
nice.
I'm like, oh, I could be out all day with the chainsaw in 75. Like, who cares? Especially over there. It's under the trees still. So there's a lot of shade over there. I could have It's only a half a day's of work. I had to get. I do 10 minutes of work and then rest for 20 minutes and then go back and do 10 minutes more. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
awful. This is awful. I haven't had this little energy in ages. I just couldn't physically do anything. I was like, why? It's perfect weather. I have all the tools. I had everything charged up. I had all the batteries charged and all the tools. I was ready to go. Nope. Nope. No good. No good. Awful.
I don't know. Probably still better paying attention to your work there than paying attention to Iran or something like that. So,
Well, that's true. I don't even know half of what's going on in Iran, thankfully. I'm just glad. And no one knows anything about Ukraine because all news has stopped. Everyone's talking about Israel and Lebanon and Iran. That's it. It's all the Middle East. No one cares about Ukraine at all. And so, yeah, it's just completely nutsoid. And I don't know where all the nitwits are that we're talking about things. It's funny too because, and I will one of these days I'll get this video done. It's a hard one, but like it's easy to spot when someone's talking about something they couldn't possibly have the information about, like at all, like at all. Like you've never even been to Iran. Why are you claiming to know this thing? That's impossible. It's actually impossible, which is different from somebody might know something because they know somebody or whatever. But like people that all the time they claim, oh yeah, no, I heard about, right? This is your first clue. This super secret CIA. I'm like, okay, if you heard about it, it can't also be super secret. I'm sorry.
right. Yeah.
Those two, like, you're just wrong. Okay. Somebody's screwing with you and you're too stupid to figure it out. Like that's what happened there. Or you're lying. Yeah. You're the one that's making it up. I don't
know. That was the thing when I was kids, everybody would talk about like their uncle that worked at Nintendo told them this thing and about the video game or whatever. And
it was all Sally Joe. Everyone is ignoring Ireland. Yeah, well, they'd better. Just leave the Irish alone. They'll take care of it. Don't worry. Somebody got into an argument with me about that. I forget who it was. I was like, no, you don't understand. You don't know about the Troubles. I grew up in Boston. I know all about the Troubles. That lasted a very long time, much longer than people realize. That was going on. They were bombing people in another country on a regular basis. These people are not backing down and they are going to get their way. So you should just give it to them now. Otherwise, you're going to pay a very heavy price.
Mm-hmm.
They used to set off bombs in England from Ireland all the time. No, they're going to win. Don't worry. They'll keep going for decades if they must. Like, just take the immigrants out of Ireland now. It'll be better for everyone involved. You got to calm them down. Once you get them wound up, it's not a good thing. Don't get the Irish wound up. It's the last thing you want is a wound up Irishman anywhere near you.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's but they can't afford to pay attention to that. That would rock their world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the exemplification of the misunderstanding of, oh yeah, we're just going to steal all the talent from other countries and call it good immigration or something and blah blah blah. And then other people are like, oh yeah, we should. Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. Let's bring in a bunch of voters so that we actually have a viable political party in the United States. It's like, yeah, without the immigrants, you wouldn't though. So, what does that tell you?
Well, I mean, people just need to like reduce the number of people who can vote, and that would.
I'm all for that. Landholders only.
Better.
Reverse all the suffrage movements now.
Exactly.
Like just reverse them all. I'm okay with that. I own land. I can vote. Sounds good. and we'll stop doubling up the female vote. It'll be great.
Right. Yeah.
So get this. I forget which episode it is that Lantern Jack did, but he talked about this briefly. I remember because I was driving through New York City to get on the George Washington Bridge. I know approximately where I was at the
Right
time
on.
because it was so interesting. Yeah, I had the top down. It's a beautiful summer day. The ancient Greeks said that allowing women to vote was the same as allowing the husband to vote twice. Like they said that back then. I was like, pretty much. So funny.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. But
So funny. Well, and that's a matter of attention. Why do you want your
Mhm.
women paying attention to politics?
Right.
I need them paying attention to flowers, what the house looks like,
Yeah.
babies, like come on, like what are we doing here?
Right. That was a thing. They did that on an Andy Griffith episode.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big thing that the lady whatever that was that's Andy Griffith whatever he's the sheriff,
Yeah.
and he's a bachelor because his wife died or something. But the girl that he's like interested in whatever, she's like trying to run for office, and that causes a big thing whatever. And they do it badly in the show, of course, because they eventually make it where she runs anyway, and that's the happy ending, is that she's able to run and whatnot. But because he makes the points like, women don't need to be paying attention to politics; they want to be doing, all this other stuff here.
Yeah.
And then that gets turned into we need to keep the women in their place, instead of realizing that stuff actually needs to be taken care of by somebody, because
Right.
us men are not going to do it at all. So,
Or if we're forced to, we're just gonna make it bad. Because all we can really do is build and smash. That's pretty much
right,
the only
yeah,
modes we have. We're pretty dumb. Men are retarded. It's terrible. Terrible curse. This is build and smash. We don't, you
yeah,
give us a baby. Oh man. Like we could like put a mechanical arm on that thing or just crush it.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's hope for mechanical arm or like the baby has a third arm. What? What happened? It's like, well, it's on og build, like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Obviously,
Oh, maybe I should do an og philosophy series.
that would be great. I think.
That would take a lot of work. Oh, that would take so much more work. Oh, I gotta get Sarah on music coming up here too, because
Mhm.
we've gotta do another sea
That'll be
shanty that
good.
we have lyrics for. So
Hmm.
it'll be so good. Christopher, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Oh, people are gonna lose their minds. They're gonna be like, "What?" Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Sarah was all worried. She's like, "Oh no, there's copyright." I'm like, "Honey, this is so old that there is no copyright applicable. I'm sorry. It'll be fine. We
Right.
can do whatever we want with this. It's totally fine. It's way too old for copyright. It'll be perfectly okay. Don't worry." Although I heard, I think it was Professor Rock and maybe Rick Beato too. We're talking about like people are out there like copywriting things that are 300 years old and stuff. It's like what? Or like original wax seal recordings and stuff. Just couldn't possibly be under copyright. I was like, what is
Yeah.
happening with the world? Yeah, and nobody's paying any attention to the rules as usual. So maybe we're
Hmm.
just getting away with doing ridiculous things. And well, we already have the first this woman was singing and they AI cloned her and then copyrighted all her stuff on her.
Oh,
And then yeah, and then everyone's like all upset. And I'm like, well, Skynet's real. It's just that Skynet isn't a machine making a decision. It's a person directing a machine, right? Because machines
mhm.
don't have attention. They don't have it. They don't, right. They
Right. Yeah.
use that too. They use context window and attention. They have all these terms about attention in the AIs, and I'm just like laughing. I'm like, you people are stupid. Like, why are you calling it? It's not really attention. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point. The AI doesn't pay attention. Doesn't
No, it
have
can't.
attention. Yeah, yeah.
Right. All they're doing, which is you want to here's a mind-blowing thing that'll just make you chuckle. They're anthropomorphizing the damn AI. That's what they're
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah.
Dave's Garage. I don't actually like Dave that much, but sometimes he comes with good stuff. So he's got an old PDP 11. I think it's an 1160 or something. I don't know the deck line that well, even though I'm from Massachusetts. I wasn't a deck person. But he's got one. It's got lights on the front and everything. So he's like, well, there's an implementation of back propagation neural nets, which is basically what transformers are based on. I mean, it's basically the same thing, done in deck assembly, so you can watch it learn. And he just has this video. It's fairly recent, where he just goes through how AIs learn, and you can watch the little lights, and he describes the whole process, all broken down. Very simple mathematical thing that you're doing. And I'm just like, this is great. Because it's so demystifying, right? It just takes the magic
Mhm.
right out of the AI. And you start to realize it's just a bunch of math. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, it's just a bunch of math. And it can run on a PDP 11 that was built in like the 70s or something goofy. It's just fantastic.
Well, that's the thing about math, is that it's basically just a set of clever tricks that, I mean, they're useful in some circumstances, but they're not the fundamental basis of everything.
Well, and the funny part is what people don't understand about math is a system of mapping.
Mhm.
And most of this is what people really don't understand. Most of the things you can do with the mathematical systems are wrong in that they don't correspond to reality. And you can't use them outside of the paper, basically. You can't apply them. And then there's a bunch of things where you can, and some of them are really important. Like, sure, you can calculate lift, and because you can calculate lift, you can improve lift. And if you can do that iteratively on a computer, say using an AI and a physics engine, all math,
Mhm.
then right, you can combine some of these useful maps together and refine things. And the computer, now with AI in particular, the computer can automate the refinement process, and then you can translate the math back into reality. But that doesn't work for most math. It only works for certain types of math, like Maxwell's
Mhm.
equations and Newtonian dynamics, and yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that. And then there's still a question of whether quantum computers are actually doing what people claim.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know that. Just math, baby.
Yeah.
Math can't do attention. It can't do time
Right.
either. Oh my god. The AIs and how bad they are with time, it makes me wanna cry. It really makes me
Mhm.
wanna cry. They sit there and they talk about attention, and I'm like, "Okay, guys, in order for you to properly implement attention in an AI, you need to fix the time sequence problem first, you idiots." And of course, they can't. Well, I might know how. If you have a few $1,000,000, let me know, and I'll hand you the idea. You can patent it yourself. I don't give a crap. Um, but they don't realize, no, no, no. The way you built it, it destroys sequence. And so you can't just easily reintroduce sequential time into the AI. But
Right.
like I
Yeah.
said, I have a couple of methods I think would work, but I'm not giving them away. So if you got the money,
Yeah.
let me know. Contact me. We can talk. Like, if this were my full-time job because I had dividend income coming in, I wouldn't be sad. Uh, I could do a lot more videos. Everybody wins. You get your
Yeah.
stupid time-based AI. I get my money, so I don't have to worry about my illness anymore because it doesn't matter. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to do a
But
guardrail system too, which I definitely know can work, but Nope. I had a line on a Silicon Valley guy, but he never got back to us. Damn it.
All these people not paying attention, huh?
I could give you 3 patents tomorrow, and I would just hand them to you for what you would consider to be a paltry sum. Believe me, because I don't care, and I live cheap, and I just I'm not trying to have tens of millions of dollars. I'm really not.
Right.
Not saying I'd turn it down. I'm just saying that's really not my goal. And if it happens, that's great. But also, I just need a couple of million. That's it. That's really it. 2 million, that would be fine. I'm out 6 or 7. So all I want is 2 million back from the world that stole my 6 or 7. So it seems fair.
That's the other thing about attention is that people follow people.
Yeah.
And so you have to pay attention to which people you're following.
And which people they got their stuff from. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There was a big dust up years ago. So it turns out a lot of people back in the 90s, I think it was, maybe it was the early 2000s, I think it was the 90s, were writing books on Nikola Tesla. And there was one person who did a biography of Nikola Tesla, and everybody was just basically using her work. And that's it. And so it was the same book over and over again.
Right. Yeah.
And there were like 5 of them or something insane, right? It's sort of like oh shoot, what's her name? Is it Edith Butler maybe? I forget.
Judith Butler?
Judith. No, Edith. No, it's Edith. No, Judith Butler's a horrible, reprehensible person. I think it's Edith Butler, actually. I think her last name is Butler, but like she wrote the Greek myths, and that was in the schools when I was going to school. And then that's based on Bullfinch, I think. So it's just a copy of somebody else's. It's not original work; it's derivative, which is fine. Like whatever, restate something in more accessible language, whatever. But like, the world was full of that copying, that mimicry,
right?
And that was very big for a while. And original scholarship is hard, and so it wasn't. That's why my work is underappreciated, because all our stuff is original it's actual scholarship. It's all original work, right?
Right. Yeah.
We draw heavily from Vervaeke and Peterson, but at this point, we have more work that we did without them than they have. So,
saying. Well, that's the attention, is because if people are trying to follow them, they're not going to follow you because you're not following them.
Right. Not necessarily. I mean, some people are, some people aren't.
Right. Yeah.
It depends how you couch yourself too. Like, but it doesn't make up for visibility, and it doesn't make up for how you're perceived. And hopefully people sort of understand like the importance of what you're attending to affects how you're perceived, because that's super important. And I don't think people are on that at all. I think they're totally missing.
Yeah.
And that's the autism. That's the mind blindness book. The mind blindness book is amazing. Everybody should just read it because it's just great. And it's tiny. I think it's 110 pages. It's a tiny book. It's small format book. It's just really, really good. Really, really, really good.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm feeling complete. You want to wrap it up, Christopher? You want to give me your closing thoughts?
I'm just gonna say that you need to like improve your discernment about your attention, and that'll make a lot of things at least a little bit better, which is how you make the world better. So,
which is what?
Which is how you make the world better, by being a little bit better.
Why would you do that? Because the
Because
world needs you.
yes.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, if there were only one thing that you could take away from my whole channel, the importance of training your attention might be the one thing that would do the most good for you. And I don't think it's that hard once you understand that, look, we've been having a 3 or 4 generation formation problem.
Mhm.
And so, like, almost everybody's not everybody, but almost everybody's caught up in that formation problem. And the thing that formation affects the most, which I think is actually the technical reason why autism is everywhere now, is your attention. It's your attention. That's what we failed to form. And that explains the quote education problem, and it explains autism, and it explains why everyone's sort of all over the place, and we have ideologies running wild, and it's malformed attention.
Mhm.
And that's why anxiety is so high. And because the world needs you, you need to be better.
Yeah.
And if you're better, the world will be better. And the way you can do that is by training your attention. So I don't want to say pay attention to your attention because that makes no sense. But being aware that you have an attention and that it can also lead you to your desires. Like you can reverse engineer and say, oh, I did this and this and this and this and this. Why? Why did I do those things? What was the actual outcome? Oh, I was hijacked, right? By the video game, by the endless scrolling, by the porn, by whatever, right? By the
Right,
alcohol, by
right.
the drugs. It doesn't matter, right? Or just by Discord. That never happens to me. So, um,
Yeah,
so
just
then you can find out more about yourself, and then you know what you need to work on, and then you can employ help. You can get people to help you. Like if you see me on my phone too much, let me know, right? Like Sarah's always like, if I'm eating too fast, let me know. Don't worry. But I don't
yeah.
always notice. Sometimes I'm eating too fast. It's just like then we
I
both
mean,
finish dinner
yeah.
in 10 minutes, and we're like, wait, what happened?
Pay
That wasn't.
attention. Yeah.
It's not what was
Pay
happening.
attention to when you're a Muppet, and that'll
Yes. Yes. Well, it's
help you
important
be
that you
better.
have a cup so that you can consider, and
Mhm.
it'll definitely improve you. So, look, everybody, it was fun. I am glad that anybody ever watches any of these. And then we're gonna do feeling next Friday. Are we doing one next Friday? I don't know. What is the date? How does time work again? Uh, I think I'm around next week. Um, I am gonna miss, I think, the week after that. And then at the end of the month, I'm gonna miss another Friday, I think, because I'll be on Cape Cod.
That'll be fun.
And then I'll miss the following week because I'll be coming back from Cape Cod. So yeah, it's travel season, and I have my timeshare, so I'll be
Right,
missing
yeah.
3 Fridays coming up. But we'll get through it all. We'll get through it all. I might do a live stream on the road. I don't think I will, but you never know. I could get
Yeah.
crazy. I've done it before. I might do it again. I probably wouldn't bring Polly though. I let Polly stay at her perch at home. But
Mhm.
look, I hope everybody has a good week and take care of yourself and each other. More importantly, get help with your attention. You can always improve it. Maybe you have too much of it, right? Maybe you're too obsessive. Doesn't sound familiar to me at all. So it's never me. And together we can just make everything better. See you all next